I was really feeling was, am I enough, right?
Right.
Like, am I worthy of even being in this field? Like, I'm broken. Why do I feel like I can help other people, right? And so,
Welcome, 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 y'all, back to the So You Need to Tell Me. For this episode, we have a very special guest. Miss Ella is here.
hello, hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm so happy for you to be here, ready to learn, ready to listen. Before we get into it, I just want to ask you, how is your mental health? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been a really stressful week, but I was very intentional about being outdoors this weekend with my kids. So, we took walks, we spent time in nature, did some cleaning outside. So that's always a
Mm,
nice reset.
yes,
Yes.
I
I'm
love
definitely
that.
looking for some me time. Yes,
A nice Sunday reset too. Today is my
absolutely.
first off day from a long week, so I'm right there with you, ready to just de-stress and just get everything out.
Yes, ma'am.
So, are you ready to get into it?
Let's do
Let's do
this.
it. Can you just tell me a little bit about your background in the mental health field?
Yes. So I got my Bachelor of Science a few years ago from Eastern Michigan University. After that, thank you.
Of
After
course.
that, I went on to work as a behavioral tech at an inpatient behavioral health hospital. So that was pretty intense. Also because I was pregnant at that time. So that was my very first experience working in the mental health field, and
Mhm.
it was a lot all at once, but I love it. Like, I would go back if I could. It was an
Mhm.
amazing experience. And so after I had my daughter, I decided that it was time to go back to school and get my master's because I wanted to get licensed. As a psychotherapist. So I went ahead and did that about 4 months after I had my daughter, which was crazy. So I had an
Yes.
infant at home. Um, but, I had to keep my mind on my goals, and that was getting licensed and being able to work in the field as a licensed psychotherapist. And so I made that happen with the support of my very amazing husband. We weren't married yet at the time, but he was amazing and instrumental in making sure that I had all the support that I could have as a new mom and starting my master's program as well. So I actually just wrapped that up earlier this year.
Congratulations.
Um,
I love that.
Thank you. So I am a brand new psychotherapist in our field. I am so excited. I mean, to just be in this place is just unbelievable because 14-year-old me just can't believe it. 14-year-old me is just like, whoa, like you did this. So, yes.
Literally. So what did you get your bachelor's in? Was it psychology?
Yes, it was
Oh,
psychology.
I love that. Me
Yes,
too.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So can you tell us a little bit about psychotherapy? Because everybody
Yes.
may not know.
That is very true. So, psychotherapy is generally an approach in treating mental health issues in which somebody can talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or any kind of licensed mental health professional like a therapist, which is what, I'm beginning my career in now. And so, psychotherapy can help, I believe, honestly, everybody because it generally just helps with a lot of awareness and introspection in order to see how thoughts and moods and, all of that can affect behaviors. And so I think that generally it's something that can be really powerful in eliciting self-awareness. And so you don't always have to be, because I think this is a misconception out there, right? That you have to be dealing with like extreme depression and
Right.
not getting out of bed and, having panic attacks or, having, more extreme things like suicidal ideations, and that's what psychotherapy is only for, but not necessarily. If you're having a hard time in life and things just seem to be overwhelming, psychotherapy can help you develop those healthy coping skills that can be really instrumental, in the now and in the long run, right? So
hmm I
yeah.
love I love that you mentioned that it can be, for those kind of more minor situations, because a lot of the times
Mhm.
people just brush them off because they think it's something small, but like you
Yes,
said, it's not. We can go get help for those things as well. And you
absolutely.
you speak so passionately about it. Was this something that you always wanted to do? Was psychology your first major, or did you switch?
Yes, honestly, I don't know what else I would do
That's so me.
if it was not for therapy. To be honest with you, like when that's why I say like 14-year-old me is screaming, right? Because,
Yes.
and very early on in high school, when I started taking, those foundational psychology classes that
Mm-hmm.
we need to take in high school, I mean, my passion just grew and grew. And then, of course, I was dealing with, my own life,
Right.
situations at that time. And so that's kind of where, of course, my passion for mental health comes in, because I want to be able to be that, individual that I would have really wanted at that time in my life.
Oh, yes.
So yes, I stuck with psychology all throughout high school, and that's just been it. I mean, my mind has been very much so focused on meeting that goal. And I know that, some people might not agree with me, like, okay, you shouldn't always have all your eggs in one basket. But to be honest, this was my main goal. And now that it's achieved, I can kind of focus and branch elsewhere. So I'm pursuing my passions in, advocacy, and just kind of putting myself more out there when it comes to my brand and, my mental health brand, and all of that.
I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. I love that because I'm right there with you. This is always what I wanted to do, and you're where I want to be at. I'm still on that
Thank
journey,
you.
but exactly. You're
You're
welcome.
almost
I'm getting there.
there. You're
Yes,
almost
thank you,
there.
thank you. And people do say that don't lay all your eggs in one basket, but I'm a firm believer if you have that passion and what you want to do, you should go seek that. Be mindful that it may not happen. You may have to deviate, but focus on that passion. So I'm happy that it worked
Absolutely.
out for you. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, of course. So you talked a little bit about, your advocacy. Can you speak about your personal goals as it relates to mental health since you've now reached your career goal?
Yes. So, right now, my biggest goal is being more active in, the Fields Association, the American Counseling Association.
Okay.
So I'm planning on attending conferences in the next couple of years. And really, it all comes down to
Yeah.
networking, right? So I want to join my state counseling association, which I really should have joined already, to be honest with you. But that is something that I'm planning on doing by the end of the year, and then joining the American Counseling Association. And so that way I can network, I can see where in my community that I can really be of help, how I can uplift those in the community, and really just kind of, spread awareness, and help people understand that, mental health really is a priority. It's just as important as your physical health. And I think people forget that sometimes. We get so caught up in we're just going to push through it and we're going to be strong. And, all of that is great and dandy, but it's also strong to seek help, right? And it's
Right.
also strong to, process, and you feel proud when you're able to kind of sit in that and you're able to do the work. And that's a big, big, big part of psychotherapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like you said, your net worth is your network. So you
Hmm.
definitely have to get out there and navigate. Hopefully one day we see each other at the conferences because that is
Yes,
exactly
girl.
what I want to do. That is so
Absolutely.
it's crazy talking to you. It's just so beautiful. Like this is nice. So I
Absolutely.
really want to ask you if you had to give somebody advice, somebody like me or somebody else in the world who wants to, pursue a
Hmm.
field, a career in mental health counseling, what would you
Hmm.
say to?
I would say, just never give up, right? And just keep your eye on your goal and your dream. There are a lot of people out there who, stigmatize the mental health field, and what it's about, and that can be really discouraging.
Right.
So I would say just, silence that noise and remember why you're going into this field. You're going into this field because you're passionate about serving, right? And that passion will serve you well. So just keep going. It's one day at a time. Goals can seem big and overwhelming, but I'm very, very big on breaking down big goals into
Hmm.
smaller steps, right?
Yeah.
So just focus on what you can see during that day, right? So just keep going. Definitely, I would say, don't procrastinate.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I did a lot of that, to be honest with you, in total transparency here. So just don't procrastinate. Go ahead and, be full force in whatever it is that you want to do. Network, right? So join your state counseling association and the American Counseling Association, and just put yourself out there. I mean, you're already doing something great by being in this field, and by taking the steps that you've already taken to start getting that education and that training. And so you just have to believe in yourself, and that'll do the rest.
Yes, ma'am. Message received. I hope you all received too. Message received. So I want to talk to you, as a Black woman in the mental health
Mhm.
field, what would you say
Mhm.
is the biggest stigma in the African American?
I think the biggest stigma in the African American community when it comes to mental health is that it's weak, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that, you have to be strong and that you can get through it and you just gotta push through it. And, you're crazy if you have
Right.
to go seek some help. And so those kind of stereotypes can be really harmful to our mental health and to, the community in general because it prevents us from really seeking that help when we really need it the most, right?
Yep.
And so, of course, there's the, just lack of trust with, healthcare providers when it comes to just our health in general. And so, if we feeling like, providers are culturally competent, I think goes a long way in kind of diminishing some of that distrust.
Yes, because you went right
Yeah.
into the next question because I was gonna ask, you really did. I was gonna ask you, how do you feel like we can build up that trust in the community? Because there are a lot of Black people who just they refuse to seek counseling. They know they need help, but they refuse because they just
Mhm.
think it's a bad thing. So how can we
Mhm.
fix that?
I think that we can fix that by really understanding that the factors that prevent, our community from wanting to seek that help, right? And a lot of that is socioeconomic factors that
Mm-hmm.
come into play. And then there's, provider bias and then just
Mm-hmm.
lack of cultural competency in the healthcare providers, right? So I think that as counselors in the counseling field, that just being culturally competent, which is a big part of our ethics, anyways,
Yep.
right? The code of ethics that we practice by. So remaining culturally competent through seeking trainings and webinars and networking and just supervisors, right? Having those supervisory relationships where you can kind of, go seek questions, seek answers for the questions that you have, I think can be very instrumental. And when we have, people of color in front of us and they're sitting in front of us as we do assessments, it's important to kind of see the issues that they're dealing with through the lens of culture, because that is a big thing in the code of ethics, is that culture affects the way our problems are defined and experienced, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
in, I believe, section A of the American Code of Ethics. So it's really important to just, you know understand that culture is gonna define the way someone views their issue and their experience with that.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree because different people experience things a different way depending on where they're from and how they deal with things and their values and their beliefs. So it is
Mm-hmm.
important to be culturally competent, and I think a lot of people kind of confuse that with, I agree that there should be more. I agree that there should be more Black people in the mental
Mm-hmm.
health profession,
Mm-hmm.
but I also
Mm-hmm.
believe that people who are not of color should be competent enough to help someone of color. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
sometimes somebody may not be available. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes,
that's something
ma'am.
that a lot of people just kind of forget.
Yes, yes, cultural competency is key. It very much so
Hmm.
is. And I just said that culture being experienced and defined by, I'm sorry, people experiencing their issues through culture, that is actually in section E of the
Mm.
American Code of Ethics. So I just wanted to correct myself out
Look, but
there
she
while while I,
knows.
while I'm dropping information. Let me just put out the right
Step up the
information.
facts.
Stick with the facts. Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
So you said that mental health is just as important as physical health, which is a fact. Mental health is health, as we
Mhm.
say. So why do you think it's important to put an emphasis on Black mental health?
Well, speaking just from a woman perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right? This information I'm about to bring up. I think is something that we've been really hearing in the last few years, but just with the Black kind of mortality rate when it comes to pregnancy, Black women are 3 times more likely to experience pregnancy-related complications
Yep.
and things like that. And so that alone says a lot right there, right? About why, emphasis on Black health is important.
Mm-hmm.
There's that lens of understanding, health through the lens of cultural competency.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
If there was one change you can make right now in the Black mental health community, what would be that one change you would make?
In the Black mental health community, um, that would be to just destigmatize the idea that not seeking help makes you strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always going to believe and I'm always going to stand by this, which is that it's actually makes you stronger to seek help when you need it, because that puts you in a position of knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what better place is that can you be, right, than to know yourself and know what you need. So if we as a community can kind of understand that life is not always going to be easy. There's, toughing it out, and there's toughing it out. There's toughing it out, and there's seeking help when, things get really, really hard. And that is a strong thing to do. And so if there was something that I could do right now, it would be to just destigmatize the idea that not seeking help makes us strong.
I think
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
100% agree. Because it's really sad. It's really sad to see, especially being a part of the community and just wanting to help. And sometimes people, they just don't see it the way we see it. They need that
Yes.
extra help. Some
Yes.
people need that education. They need that push, and it's really
Hmm.
sad to see. Sometimes it's being taught, by parents to their children, that you have
Yes.
to be strong and you have
Hmm.
to tough it out. So I wanted to ask you, because you are a mother, as a mother,
Hmm.
how do you prevent yourself from doing that to your children? How do you show them that it is okay to have feelings?
I allow them to have the feelings that they have. I let them sit in it, and then I talk to them about how to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, I do still have little ones, so I have toddlers. So the reception is not 100% like there all the
But the message
time.
is still going.
But the message is going. A big part of that message is modeling, right? So I try and be about what I tell them. So when I get frustrated and I'm
Yes.
really upset, I don't go hiding away from them and not allow them to see me upset. I'm not sitting there bawling my eyes out in front of them, but I allow them to see that I'm upset and I'm hurt or frustrated in that moment. And I'll breathe it out. I'll let them know, like, hey, mommy's just upset right now. I just need a few minutes, and I'll take a few minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll let them know why I was upset and why I needed some time, and I feel better. So like with my daughter right now, she's 3. She has passionate tantrums, right? So everything is the end of the world.
Just
So
be
when
falling
she
out, huh?
yep. So I try and kind of just put her to the side, and we're working on breath work right now, which
Mm,
100% I believe is an amazing grounding tactic even with adults. But
mhm.
I have her sit down and just kind of breathe, do some deep breathing as much as she can as a 3-year-old, and that seems to be really helping her out. And then we try and just kind of have a conversation about how she's doing, what made her upset, what made her frustrated, what we can do to change that next time. So it's a lot of meeting them where they're at.
That's beautiful, because a lot of
Yeah.
parents, they don't take into consideration that you have to model what you say.
Yes.
Even though your
Yes.
children are little, they're gonna remember. Like, we have those little core memories that we remember. It may not be something that
Yes.
you think is big, but they'll probably remember. Mommy was doing breath work with me. Let me ground myself. They'll remember those
Exactly.
things. So that is a very beautiful
Exactly.
thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Of course. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about postpartum depression. I obviously don't have any knowledge about that, y'all. I don't have any kids. But I do wanted to ask you, if you're comfortable with sharing, did you experience any postpartum depression after your pregnancies?
I actually did. So I did seek help. I was in a support group for Black women through the hospital that I gave birth to my children through, and that was very, very helpful because I was full force in my master's program, and being a mom and having other responsibilities. And so at first it was hard for me to kind of accept that that was what I was dealing with. I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, like, why am I feeling like this? This should be natural. Like, I'm a woman. This is just something that I should be able to do, right? But to be honest, I think that my background that I already had in mental health kind of helped encourage me to kind of seek that help and help me realize, like, hey, you just need some extra help right now, right?
Right.
Just a little extra. It didn't
And that's
mean that,
okay.
like, and that was okay, right? It didn't mean my life was falling apart, or I had a horrible life, or things completely sucked, but I just needed a little extra help. And so the support groups that I was a part of, that was very, very helpful. It got me out of the house, meeting other moms. We talked about topics that were very relatable to all of us, and so that was, nice. Like, I walked away from that feeling like I wasn't alone, and that's a big thing about postpartum that I would want to let any mom know, any woman know, whether or not you have a baby yet. It's just that if and when it happens, you are not alone, and there are resources out there and there's support out there that will really get you through that time.
I love that. Did your
Yes.
hospital recommend the support group to you, or did you already know about it?
They did. They
Oh, I
recommended
love
it.
that.
So yes, when you go back, after having the baby, like the monthly checkup, they do screen you for postpartum. And
That's
so
nice.
yes, based on that screening, which I knew, right, because I filled out the questions. But when they
Now
called
you
me, I
knew,
was
you
like,
knew. You was like, I already know how this gonna show up.
right, exactly. I was ready for that call.
Yeah, yeah. At least you were aware enough. That's like you said, that's the beauty of being aware. You know these things about yourself. Some people, it's kind of crazy to say, I guess, but a lot of people don't know themselves,
Yes, yes, and
You gotta know
that's why
yourself.
you do, and that's why I feel like psychotherapy could be for everybody. Like, you don't have to be having major mental health
Mhm.
issues and crises to go seek therapy. Like, it's so powerful in the journey of introspection.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
So can you tell me about how your mental health was during your pregnancy versus after?
So during, to be completely transparent, it was at a low point. I was excited to be a mom, but I was very overwhelmed with
Hmm.
work and trying to figure out, like, school after, as far as postgraduate education goes, and just other life situations that were going on. So it was really trying. I did not lean on my support system as much as I should have. I isolated a lot,
Yeah.
so that was something that I would change if I could. But and afterwards, of course, with the postpartum, it got even worse there for a while before it got better. But it did get better. The support groups helped, and then I really just fell in love with motherhood and being a mom,
Ooh.
and loving on my kids. And right now, like, it's hard to think, like, wow, there was a time that I had before I had them.
Mhm. It's really
Yeah.
just that journey, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's
A
beautiful though.
journey.
It's a beautiful thing to see how that works, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of mothers out there, and I see people on social media how they say they want to have children, but they're
Hmm.
scared and they don't want it to be like lonely. A lot of
Yes,
people don't have family to be that village for them. So it's nice to know that
exactly.
there are groups out there for you. You're not alone, even if you feel
Absolutely.
alone.
Absolutely. And I didn't have that family, and that can make it even more isolating,
Right.
right? So, but even in that situation, you're not alone. You can get
Mm-hmm.
help, and you can get support, and you create your own village, right? Because
Yep.
it really does take a village, and if you automatically don't have that, you create it.
And not having that village, that gives you the opportunity to make your own, like start your new generation, break those
Absolutely.
curses and the stigmas, make your family how you would have wanted your family to be. So
Exactly.
that's a beautiful
Exactly.
thing. What would
Yes.
you say is the most challenging thing for you as a new mother?
Ooh, as a new mother, the most challenging thing, I think it was just figuring out how to be a mother and how to be Ella at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when the baby comes, our identity just kind of gets immersed in that of the baby, and so it becomes all about the baby. And so I was constantly worried about if I'm showing up enough for my daughter, keeping her alive, right? First of all, she's
Mm-hmm.
a tiny
Right.
little thing. So I'm like, let me just keep this baby alive for the next, like,
You're
couple
not
months.
messing nothing up.
Can't mess it up. Like, it was just literally, it was survival, Deja. Like, just survival, and trying to make sure that, like, we got through the next hour, made sure she was fed, and that I was sleeping when she was sleeping, which was
Mhm.
hard because I was just wanting to watch her like a hawk,
Yep.
right?
Make sure she's okay. Yep.
Make sure she's okay. But those moments, I mean, looking back at it now, there were so precious. And as crazy as it is, I might want to do it again.
Yes, I know that they say that's what they say. They say those babies get y'all. Y'all have one, then
Yes, ma'am.
they be so beautiful though. Like when they
It
come and
is.
ooh,
It's just
I know. I be seeing them. The baby fever, the baby fever.
your time is coming, Daisy
Gotta get
girl.
through school, right? Gotta get through school. What would you say if you, without thinking too much, what would you say are the top 3 emotions that you felt as a new mother?
Joy, fear, motivation.
Ooh,
Yes.
motivation is a great one.
Motivation. I mean, every bone in me that, like, had any doubt was just erased, because now I had a future, a generation, like, I mean, generations and generations to come, based on them having children, like, if they want to have children, right?
Right.
So everything became about making sure that I leave a legacy, and thinking about what kind of legacy I want to leave for my children. So that's where that motivation came from. The fear we just talked about, right? Like, am I going to be a good mom? And then this is a big, scary world we live in,
Right.
and you can't always protect them. I mean, right now at this age, like, it's kind of easier to feel in control, because I mean, it's just mom and dad, right?
Right.
But the more they branch out into the world, it becomes, bigger and scarier. And so that's a lot of where that fear came from. Because I had my daughter in the middle of COVID. So the world was going crazy.
Very
so I was just like, yeah, and it's just been crazy ever since, right? So that's where the fear comes from. It's just not being able to, protect them always. But I think if we do our jobs right, that, by the time they're able to fly off and be on their own, that we should trust in that, right?
Yep, they'll be all right.
Yes.
What a selfless answer. It's always about your family. It's never just about you. And I think that's so beautiful. As we talk about the next thing, I really want to ask you, what's the most important thing you personally want to give your children? Even though I think I already know the answer.
What do you think the answer is, girl?
I think you're going to say a beautiful legacy. Like, you want to leave them with a legacy.
I do want to leave them with the legacy, but more specifically, a legacy of kindness, right?
Yes.
And just loving people and following their hearts. I want them to look back, and when they think about mom, to say like, wow, like, she really loved everybody, even if she didn't agree with them. She taught us to be kind to, especially the bullies, right? Like, people go through hurt people, and I think that's the biggest thing that I really want to, like, leave them with, is that if someone hurts you, the easy thing to do is to want to retaliate and hurt them back. But really just take a step back and think about, hey, what might be going on in their lives that might be wanting them to act this way. And it's not always easy. I don't want them to invalidate their own emotions, but I want them to always be able to view things from a different lens other than their own.
Yeah, because emotional regulation and empathy is not taught in schools. So that is something that the parents, we definitely have to, because it's really sad to see, like, a lot of these children, there are bullies and there are kids that are mean to kids and they don't understand, but a lot of it kind of starts at home. Even though I do think that the school system should do a better job of implementing emotional intelligence. I don't think it should be all about academics. That's just
absolutely, girl.
I just think that because I'm like, I've been looking back at it, now that I'm done with high school and done with undergraduate, and I'm like, we never had any classes about emotional intelligence. Like, anything that I know is because I chose to take counseling classes because that's what I liked, but people don't even know they need it. Everybody should have to take at least one.
Exactly, like a core class.
Yes, it should be. I don't know what are we thinking. Who's? I don't know who I need to speak to, but we need to make that change.
Girl, this is where the advocacy comes in. Finding who we can write to, but who we need to speak to, and who we need to get in front of. That's really, really important. Not just in the counseling field, but just in all of our other passions, right? Like, it's so important to get out there and be the change that we want to see. If we want all these things to happen, sitting at home and complaining about them, or having Twitter fingers or whatever you
Mm,
call it,
you know,
it's not gonna help the situation. we
no,
we
we
have to
gotta
get
go
out
do
there.
something. We have to take
Yes,
action. We really
that's
do.
right. We
And
have to take action.
it seems like simple things, but if they were simple, we wouldn't be talking about it. Like,
Exactly.
so we need to,
Exactly.
and we can't, there's that bystander effect too. People think, well, somebody else will do it. Well, it still ain't done.
Right.
So,
Like, until it happens to you or someone you care about. Right
yep.
now, you're in a position where you have to advocate
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
it matters that much more to you.
Yep.
But that amount of care should really be able to extend to everybody, and
Exactly.
that's what I really want to teach my kids.
That's,
Yeah.
yep. That's where that empathy comes from. A lot of people don't have that. They're like, well, it
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to do with me until it does.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I don't really like that
I
mentality
know. I
though.
know, girl.
So the last section I really want to talk to you, Miss Ella, about is you as a wife. We talked
Okay.
about you as Ella. We talked about Ella the mom. Let's talk about
Yes.
Ella the wife. So can you
Okay.
speak about what you believe a solid relationship should look like?
Oh man. Okay. So full disclosure, y'all, I am
Mm-hmm.
not a marriage and family therapist. Okay. So
You're right.
this is not coming from the realm of counseling or anything like that, but personal, just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that total honesty, transparency, and communication goes a really long way. And all of those things are really hard things as humans because, we don't always want to like speak our mind, and we expect our partners to read our minds.
Yep.
And, they are not mind readers, and neither
Mm-hmm.
are we. And so, there is power in communicating what you need and communicating when those needs aren't getting met, right? But also understanding that it's not all about your needs. It's, both, there's two people in the relationship, right? So, having those hard conversations and making it safe for your partner to have those hard conversations go a really long way.
You always go right into the next question, Ella. So how do you communicate your mental health to your partner?
Again, so I try and make sure that it's like a safe, setting.
Mm-hmm.
The way I'm approaching it is safe, and I'm not attacking him. So I try something that, I really like to tell even my own clients is, keep the conversation on what you're upset about and not attack their characteristics and their traits, right? So
Ooh,
I'm not, yeah, so I'm not sitting there like, you always do this and you do this and you do that. A lot of it is using I statements. So I feel this when da 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 da, right? And so the way I go about that, this is how I go about my conversations. Oh my God, let me take my therapist hat off.
Cause wait.
This is how I have my conversations with him. But as far as to answer your questions, as far as setting up for the conversation, I just try and plan a date night. So, go to a nice dinner, make sure that, we're both really feeling the vibes, like, the kids are taken care of. And so really make sure that we're in a good headspace to have that conversation. I was getting into
But no,
how we have the conversation.
I like where you were getting though, because those I versus you statements are big.
Yes,
those
so
are
big, girl. Because in
big.
relationships,
Yes,
it can get real easy.
Even
Yeah.
with the platonic relationships, like when you're talking
Yes.
to a friend and just
Yes.
always saying, you, like, dang,
Yes.
they're like, you all
Yes.
know my body. Yeah, that's gonna make
Yes.
anybody mad. So you really just have to put yourself in other people's shoes when you're talking to them, because it can definitely, even if your intentions aren't to attack,
exactly,
it can come off as
girl,
yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. Exactly.
I already know. I was like, that I versus you. I'm glad you went there, because the people need to know. The people need to know, because a lot of people
no.
they say communication is important, but they don't know effective communication is what they need.
Exactly. They don't have that, girl. That takes practice, and I'm still not even like perfect at it myself, right? And it's such an ongoing thing. You have to choose to kind of practice that every time, especially when those situations arise, and that's where it can be easy to be reactive, but no, like take a step back and just breathe and then come back.
What's your favorite self-care activity to do as a couple and then as a family?
Okay. As a couple, we definitely love our date nights. So, having a nice dinner and, going out or shaking off the stress a little bit. I mean, he does not care for dancing, but he'll let me dance.
Right.
Okay,
And
so it all
he'll
works
let you be
out.
the star. He'll let you be the star that you are.
Thank you, Deja. You're so
Love that.
sweet, girl.
Cute.
But yeah, so we love doing that together, but also, just like taking walks and stuff like that. And then as a family, we love planning game nights. So we'll take the kids to, arcades, and of course they love the Chuck E. Cheese at this age.
Yes.
So we'll take them there.
I'm not gonna lie, I was and still am scared of Chuck E. Cheese. The problem is I don't like mascots.
I feel it. I feel
just
it.
anything with a why?
Like, why are you hiding your face?
It's just I don't feel comfortable. I ain't gonna lie. And then Chucky look different now. He used to be. I said, "Who was this man?" I said, "I don't know this man." Chucky, I'm scared of that. But the kids love him.
The kids love
Chucky.
him. The kids love him. Listen, girl,
So.
all I gotta do is take him there for half a day, and we enjoy watching them run around. So we also like, parks and being outdoors. Things
I was
like
just gonna say, you seem like really outdoorsy people.
Yes, we are. We are. I mean, we live in the country, so it's just like definitely send them out, let them play, let them do what they gotta do. You know what I mean? Bring themselves out. Like, why be in the house all day? Watching TV.
TV.
Exactly.
These
on the
days,
tablets.
They got these iPads and these. The technology is crazy these days. So a lot of kids don't go outside as much as like we used to.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna say I was outside a lot, but they ain't outside at all.
No, not at all. I mean, afraid of the grass and the
it's
like
okay. It's the grass. Get in the field. Come on now.
Go out barefoot,
Do you have a solid piece of relationship advice from a marriage standpoint?
Well, I haven't been married for years and years, so I mean, this is just from
Girl, don't downplay your marriage. You're still married. It don't matter. It don't matter how long you are married.
You're so sweet. I appreciate that. I guess I would say really communicating is big, like especially when you're upset. That way it doesn't build resentment. So I wouldn't say I'm a big believer in don't go to sleep mad, because sometimes you just need to and come back the next day and come back and talk about continue where you finished off the night before, right? But I think that having a conversation when you're upset with your partner and really communicating how you feel in real time, even if you take like maybe a day or two to process how you feel, is really important, versus not doing that and then over time resentment building, because that will just blow up, at some point in the relationship, and then it could have been preventable. So that's just personally, from my personal experience, and how my husband and I try and go about our marriage, is just by being radically honest with each other about how we're feeling, especially if we're upset with one another about something.
And that's the big thing. Communication will always be huge. I want to ask you, I know that you aren't in, marriage and family counseling or anything like that. So this is from her personal standpoint, y'all. But I just want to ask what your opinion is on couples going to relationship therapy and relationship counseling. Because a lot of people have this mindset that if you're going to counseling as a relationship, that the relationship is over. So do you believe that? Yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't believe that at all. No, I believe that, couples counseling can absolutely strengthen a relationship, especially if you're thinking about getting married. So premarital counseling, I will, recommend all the way. I mean,
did you do that?
I did. I was just about to say, like, my husband and I did that. It was, very powerful. It really helped us kind of, see some things that we were, really seeing at the time that we were planning our wedding. And so that was really nice. And so, no, like, you don't have to be on the verge of breaking up to, go to couples counseling. But like going together can help you guys both be aware of, your past childhood traumas and how it's affecting your behaviors today as adults in your relationships, right? So if you're, reactive, or, if you're dealing with like, a specific attachment style, right? In your relationship, like it can help the other partner understand like, hey, okay, my partner has an anxious avoidant attachment style based on this thing that happened in their past and these relationships that they were in, before they met me. And so couples therapy, what I believe it really provides, because you can have these conversations with your partner outside of sessions, right? But I think sessions really just help sets up the environment for safety, where both voices can feel heard, and then there's a moderator. And so again, I'm not a marriage and family therapist, but I am a mental health therapist. So from that standpoint, being in the room, it's really just allowing the two couples to have that conversation, and then just kind of being the more level-headed, logical one in the conversation, right? Asking the hard questions, the rational questions, the logical questions, that elicit some of those emotions that they might not want to touch on their own, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I definitely agree, because it's, like you said, it's easy to have those conversations at home, but at home, people may feel like their point is more important than the others,
Exactly.
And you're not hearing what I'm saying. So,
right.
Yeah. Right. So we gotta listen to understand, not to just respond. And a lot of people just want to respond, girl. Yes. A lot of people just want to respond, and they don't want to hear what you're saying.
You are a beast with the one-liners, girl. Like, listen.
I be trying to tell them. They don't be listening, Miss Ella. They not. I just have one final question to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
So the last question that I have is, what, you said that your 14-year-old self is screaming, she's happy for you, she's cheering your name. So what is one thing, or what is just a message that you would tell your younger self right here, right now?
Oh my God. Without hesitation, I would tell her that she is enough. And enough, she can do whatever she puts her mind to, and she alone is enough to make it happen. I mean, I have been doing a whole lot of introspection as I'm entering the field as a new psychotherapist. And back then, I think a lot of the emotions that I was really feeling was, am I enough, right? Like, am I worthy of even being in this field? Like, I'm broken. Why do I feel like I can help other people, right? And so, I mean, it's been an incredible, incredible journey, but I feel that I'm enough. And I would tell her, like, baby girl, you are bad. Like, you can do this. You are enough. You will always be enough. And yeah.
That is such a beautiful message, because look, as we're kids, and it goes by real fast. When you're younger, you hear people say that all the time, and I know me, I was tired of hearing that. I was like, okay, whatever. But I'm like 23 this year, and I really feel like I was just 16. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
It's really crazy how the time will fly by, but I vividly remember the thoughts in my mindset changing. Even though it was fast, like, I didn't think I was even gonna get through undergrad, and then I didn't even think I was gonna get accepted into graduate school, and then now I'm doubting myself. Do I want to get my doctorate? So it's just, I'm
get it.
Yes, I definitely want to do it. I definitely want to do it. I just feel like they should making going to school easier. It's just,
I agree.
Very financially straining, And then,
girl, we're gonna have to have another episode for that.
We are. We're gonna have to talk about the college stress of trying to become a counselor, because y'all have no idea.
Oh my goodness. I mean, everything takes hard work, dedication, right? But I mean, we are just speaking from our experience with our journey, and it's definitely something. And girl, there's the licensure kind of like interstate contract that's going on right now. And so if you get licensed in one state and you're trying to move, so I mean, it is
my problem. Exactly. Because I moved here to go to graduate school, but I know when I'm done I don't want to stay here, so it's kind of like
right. Now you have to look at requirements for the state that you want to move to. Right. Oh my goodness.
I think why is it not a set line for this type of thing? I don't understand.
I know. Well, our field is working on this compact right now that's trying to get all 50 states on board, right? So a lot of the states are actually on board right now. My state is not on there, of course, Michigan. Of course. But the state that I want to move to is on there, which is nice. So, I think that maybe in the next few years, hopefully, if like we were talking about, if we do our part, right, by being
Right.
a part of that advocacy and showing
Mm-hmm.
up in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, our conferences and, you know, our organizations, that will go a really long way.
Just practicing what we
Yeah.
preach.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I said that was the last question, but I lied. I got one more thing because I almost forgot. I got one more thing because they tried to come for me, Ella. They tried to come for me. So I just want to ask
Oh
you,
no. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
do you feel like a bachelor's degree in psychology is worthless? They tried to tell me it was.
Oh my God, you know what?
I
I don't think
almost
that it
forgot.
is worthless. No, because they came for me too with that. That
Mm-hmm.
is something that
Mm-hmm.
I think that most people who do get a bachelor's in psychology get told. It's like, what are you
Yep.
gonna do with that? Like, that, you know,
Yep.
that's nothing. No, I don't think that it's worthless. I mean, there are multiple options that you can go into to start getting that experience before you go into your graduate program, right? So like you are trying to do right now, and I did behavioral technicians. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is a really good thing
That's
that you can do with
it's a
that.
really solid job.
It's a solid job. I mean, seriously, and working, you know, with children in the ABA field, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which I know you have experience with, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's worthless at all. I think people need to stop
Like to
hating.
tell someone, yeah, right, to tell someone like my friend, she's a behavior technician right now. Like we talk about,
Yeah.
the applied behavior analysis and, just
Mhm.
talking about, autism children and like just the
Yeah.
stigmatisms that they have and just so many things that go on. Like this is important. It's important work.
Really
There's,
important work. I mean,
you
I think
know,
people get hyper focused on money, right? Because when they think
yes,
psychology and they're like, well, if you want to be a therapist, you
you
need your
gotta,
graduate, right? Like
mhm,
you need your master's, and it's like, okay, but it's still part of the journey. I'm gonna
exactly.
embrace my journey. I mean, doctors go through steps and steps and steps
Mm-hmm,
before they get to that big money as well. What
mm-hmm.
makes it different, right?
Exactly.
So
I just think the biggest thing is to let people know, if you're getting your bachelor's in psychology, that if you
yeah,
have these goals, that you have to go further. But just to tell somebody that their degree is worthless,
worthless.
then
I
it's just
mean,
so disheartening.
why snatch life out of someone's dream
You
and
know?
passion, like
Yes.
what good does that do
And
for you?
education is something like, it's
Yeah.
not like they're doing something bad. They're trying to do
Rock,
something
right,
good and you're
they're
taking
better
that
than
from them. I don't
absolutely,
like that, especially
absolutely.
because I've been seeing that more and more Black people want to join the field of psychology, and for
Which
you
we
to sit,
need. Yes,
which we definitely need. So for
yes,
people to sit there and kind of downplay it and down talk it, I feel like it's kind of, deteriorating people from joining. So I don't want anybody to feel discouraged. You heard
absolutely.
it from Miss Ella.
Listen, guys, we do not want to take steps back when it comes to
No.
stigma in our, community. Like we're just now getting to where, I mean, Simone Biles and,
Hello.
other big celebrities and, influential people are prioritizing their mental health right now. And so our community is finally just starting to really allow ourselves
Speak
to,
up.
speak up and acknowledge that this is really important. And so we don't want to, by telling someone, hey, your bachelor's in psychology is worthless, we don't want to, go back on that work and,
Mm-hmm.
continue to stigmatize what we're already trying to destigmatize, So,
Yep. We don't want
yeah,
to go backwards. We've already come a
no,
long way, because
we've come a long way. Yeah.
not too long ago, so we just got
Seriously.
not too long ago. So we just got to keep moving forward. I really appreciate you coming on here and voicing that, because we need to hear it from other people. We need to hear from people like you that are already in the position that we're trying to get to. So
Thank
I
you.
really
And
just look up to you, Miss Ella. I really do.
thank you so much, Deja. That means so much because honestly, I feel imposter syndrome is so real right now
Yes.
because I'm very, very new in the field, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
you're giving me all my flowers, and I'm like, but girl,
What you
like
deserve.
what?
What you
I don't know if I
deserve.
deserve
Take
them.
'em.
But you deserve them as well. You are doing amazing things with this podcast. I am incredibly humbled and so honored to be here with you today. We had such an amazing conversation,
Yes.
and you didn't only learn from me, I learned from you. I mean, about resiliency and just determination and passion. Like, you are so passionate, and I really can't wait to run into you into one
Yes,
of these
at the
ATA
conference.
conferences, girl.
it's radiating off you as well. I just really enjoy talking to people, like-minded people,
Yes.
like-minded individuals, and
Yes.
just telling people in the community to put yourself out there, network. Because
Absolutely.
I'm not the
Absolutely.
person that's just super social. It comes off like that, but I am not. I'm very
Right.
anxious, very
Right.
scary, all of that. But talking to you really has fulfilled me, and I really do feel honored and humbled to have spoken to you. So
I
thank you
feel
so
the
much, Miss
same
Ella.
way. I feel the same way. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you. Of
girl.
course. Y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Miss Ella. I'm going to leave all her socials in the description. Her mental health brand is growing. So don't forget about her. Don't forget, y'all, you are amazing. You are worthy. You are blessed. And you are the best. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.